Wildlife viewing in Arizona is a popular pastime, and with over 800 species across the state, there are plenty of animals to see.
There is, and it depends on the season, where you would want to go and what you would want to see and what your focus is. So there's people that specifically focus on viewing mammals, right? Things like, let's say, elk. And there's people that focus on viewing birds, birders, that are really passionate about their hobby and their pastime.
Jeff Meyers is the Watchable Wildlife Program Manager for the Arizona Game and Fish Department.
And then there's herpers, and herpers refers to herpetology, people that focus on viewing reptiles and amphibians. And Arizona is the #1 herper state within the country. People travel here from all over the country and indeed all over the world to look at our reptiles and amphibians because we have some really unique species here.
There's another one too to your left.
Jeff's wildlife watching program is able to give people the chance to experience wildlife for themselves.
The program itself takes people out on some pretty cool events that we have, that we could take people out and show them this wildlife and how to view it in an appropriate manner.
Arizona's diverse wildlife draws people here from all over the country.
We have really unique breeding grounds for amphibians, and we have some of the best birding anywhere in the continental U.S. In the southeast corner of the state, we get a great diversity of hummingbird species that people come from all over to see. And Arizona, because it's a large state and because it has a great difference in topography. So there's areas in the western portion of the state along the Colorado River that are very low elevation and they get extraordinarily hot. And there's areas in the state that go up to over 12,000 feet. So we have areas that are very large stands of ponderosa pine forests. And it's a very diverse state, and because it's so diverse, we also have a great diversity in our wildlife species. Everyone has something unique that they want to see and they want to focus on, and Arizona has something for everybody.
With excursions like bighorn sheep viewing on Canyon Lake, the Watchable Wildlife Program provides unique and fun experiences for people of all ages.
And the two things that you're going to look for, white butt, and on the rams, they have that big curled horn. That curve will catch your eye.
You're going to see an area with a bunch of vegetation.
Cheyenne Towne is the Wildlife Viewing Program Coordinator.
It's pretty spectacular. We go out on Canyon Lake super early in the morning, in the middle of June. It's hot, but we go really early, so it's not too bad. But we go out on the lake, beautiful lake here in Arizona, Canyon Lake is, and we go find sheep. And we view sheep from the pontoon boats. We talk about them, give backgrounds about them, natural history, all that kinds of stuff. And you get to see them up close, which is really nice for folks. And get to see the dynamics of the sheep, and we kind of interpret what's going on at that time as well. So that's probably one of my favorites. Although it's a really early morning, it's totally worth it.
We teach people how to spot bighorn sheep effectively on their own. We also point out the sheep so they can see them, and frequently we'll get close, 30, 40 feet away. They're big, majestic animals, and they get to see these animals up close, they get to see their behavior, and they get to photograph them, which is a really popular event. We actually host a few of them that are specifically geared for photographers. So we stay out a little bit longer and we put fewer people on the boat so people have room to maneuver their sometimes big lenses that they're using to get the photographs that they're after. Bighorn sheep has to be my all-time favorite event. We do 2 public events a year in Wickenburg, Bats and Buzzards and All Vultures Eve. And those events are really focused on the phenomenal sight of seeing all the turkey vultures that are circling and kettling, landing in a tree to roost for the night, or even going under the bridge in this case and looking at 10,000 Mexican free-tailed bats that will fly out at sunset. We get to talk to the people that attend. We get to give a little bit of education to them, and then provide opportunities for them that they may not have otherwise to get closer to wildlife. In this case, I'm talking optically. So we provide binoculars and spotting scopes so people can see things in much greater detail from a good distance. Elk Workshop is done once a year, usually around the 3rd or 4th week of August. We hold classes and they get a lecture about elk, so they learn about elk. After the presentation, the people kind of caravan along Lake Mary Road and go down to a viewing location that has been pre-scouted where the elk are located. And then they go out and view elk, sometimes hundreds of them, out on Mormon Lake. It's really cool. And we have a bunch of binoculars and spotting scopes set up so people can get a much closer view from the safety of that distance from the elk.
And we're the wildlife viewing program for Arizona Game and Fish. We get to do events like this, come out, see you guys, get bats up and close and personal so you get to see them and hopefully not be scared of it anymore.
At Boyce Thompson Arboretum, we do bat netting events. What we do is we get there a little early and we set up nets at various locations that are designed to safely trap the bats. And then the public arrives and we give them kind of an engaging, I hope, talk about bats. And then we hope at that point we have some bats in the nets and we have some trained biologists that carefully remove the bats and they bring them to us. And then we process the bats for general information, just kind of baseline data, what the species is, what the gender is, things like that. We record that data, but the whole time the public gets to really see these bats up close and gets to watch the scientists at work. And then we take the bats around and show them to people up close. Of course, people can't touch the bats, but they can get pretty close, a couple feet away, and they can take pictures and they can see the behavior and can see that different species have different behaviors. And then we let the bats go and they go about their business.
Fly, be free, little girl. All right, little man.
Steak net.
It's really a fun event. People really seem to enjoy this. We get some people that come back to 2 or 3 bat nettings every year, year after year after year. So we're lucky to have the Wildlife Center at Arizona Game and Fish. We have some ambassador animals there, and sometimes those animals with an expert handler like Nancy will join us at our events so they get to meet these ambassador animals live, or at least see them depending on if it's a virtual event or not. We host a series, wildlife lecture series of virtual events. And these have a really broad appeal. We have one coming up on rattlesnakes, and we have about 50 people signed up from all over the country to see this event. And what we're doing is educating people, and typically what we do is we kind of start with a natural history of whatever the group of critters or the individual critter that we're talking about is. And we start with a natural history. In other words, how did this animal come to be where it is and how it is? And then we talk about that animal in a global picture, a national picture, a state picture, as we kind of focus down on that. The advantage to doing these virtually is that people don't have to leave their home. They can see this and learn about our wonderful wildlife from the comfort of their own home. So we have several streaming wildlife cameras. And what these cameras do is they stream 24/7, particularly during the season of these animals. For example, there's one on the sandhill cranes. And why they're really cool is because they give you an opportunity to get this intimate look into the daily lives of certain species of wildlife. See how they behave when there aren't people around, which is really the whole goal of wildlife viewing, because we don't want to influence behavior. We want to see natural behaviors. And that's what these cameras really enable us to do, day or night. Most of these cameras have infrared lights, which don't bother the wildlife at all, but they give us the ability to see that wildlife at night. We have one on bats in a bat roost, so you can see the bats during the day. It's amazing that they can function because it doesn't seem like they ever really rest. We have one on sandhill cranes, and we're always looking for new opportunities to install these streaming wildlife cams to give the public an opportunity to see these animals from the comfort of their own home. We have people from more than 42 countries around the world tune in to see our wildlife cams, and more than 30 states around the United States itself. An excellent way to keep in touch with the program and to learn more about what we do would be through the Arizona Game and Fish website.
Go to azgfd.gov/wildlife viewing, and that'll take them right to our page. It's going to say register for an event. Click on that link and it'll take you right to all the different events you're going to see on there.
We do a lot of programs. In any given year, we do between 40 and 50 different types of programs. These range from virtual events to in real life events that we do at various locations throughout the state. The program consists of two of us, myself and Cheyenne, who is the coordinator for the program, and we put on these programs together. I really hope that people have a once-in-a-lifetime experience, that they come away with more knowledge about wildlife, and that they come away with more respect for the intrinsic value of the wildlife itself.